we have upcoming. And then we're going to have an opportunity for you to give us some feedback, because part of making this a successful program is really building on the ideas that you have and really hearing about what you've done with Project Learning Tree. And then, of course, at the end, there's an opportunity for you to ask questions. So when we get to that point, feel free to unmute your microphones, or if for some reason your microphone's not working, you can go ahead and type directly into the chat box. So, great. All right. Well, Katie, should we go ahead and move to the outline slide?
Sure.
Thank you. And everyone, today our webinar will be recorded, so if you know of someone who has missed the webinar or you'd like to join along, feel free to share that with them. We'll send that out later to the listserv. So I want to start out once again by welcoming everyone. Thank you once again for joining us, and we're excited to have you. My name is Danielle Ardrey, and I am the current Conservation and Youth Education Specialist with the Colorado State Forest Service. And I wanted to take a moment to give you a little bit of the background about my background and how I came to be involved with Project Learning Tree. I studied animal science at Cornell and graduated with a BS, and then got my master's with teaching biology and agricultural education. And in between those times, I had an opportunity to spend a year working in outdoor centers in Maryland, California, and out here in Colorado, working at a camp above Boulder. So having an opportunity to explore and fall in love with Colorado and this great state, and started working my way out west. I'm originally from Western New York by Buffalo, Niagara Falls area. And I've been in Colorado for about the last 8 years. Once I finished my master's, I was a middle school science teacher, and I taught for 2 years in Kingman, Arizona at a public school, 7th and 8th grade science. And then I was able to move to Denver and taught at the Denver School of Science and Technology. I was one of the founding members of their Cole campus, which is in the Five Points area. And we're hearing a little bit of feedback. If you guys could mute your microphones, I think that would help. Thank you. And yeah, so I taught for 3 years at DSST, having the opportunity to become the science department chair. And also I taught 6th and 7th grade science there and a sustainability elective. That was really great opportunity to explore kind of what's happening in the environment with the middle school kids. After I finished my work up with the middle schools, I moved on to CSU Extension, where I spent the last 5 years in Arapahoe County. And I was the 4-H after school enrichment and camp program coordinator, where we did a lot of different hands-on experiential learning activities with positive youth development in really great settings, from after-school programs to in-school programs where we would hatch baby chickens and work on school gardens, and really getting kids engaged with science and exploring their natural world. I also was the coordinator of the Colorado Building Farmers program, helping our local coordinators throughout the state with resources and supplies that they need. And then this past summer, my family moved to Fort Collins, and I had the wonderful opportunity to now accept this position where I am responsible for helping to coordinate Project Learning Tree in Colorado, and also working with the Colorado State Forest Service's public outreach and face-to-face events. So I'm super excited to be in this role, and I'm really excited to learn more about what you all have done with Project Learning Tree and how we can make the program continue to be successful in the future. So Katie, I'll turn it over to you.
Thanks, Danielle, and super excited to have you on board. For anybody who doesn't know me, my name is Katie Navin, and I am the director of the Colorado Alliance for Environmental Education, and we as of 2019, have taken over facilitating just a few parts of the Project Learning Tree process and curriculum. And so CAE will be helping facilitate the early childhood work, the green schools work, and then helping support any facilitators who want to do work in Spanish. And so we're super excited to be part of this PLT team here in Colorado. If you don't know much about CAEE, we are a professional network of environmental educators. There are 850 of us across the state, and doing environmental education in all different ways, shapes, and forms. Our members are everything from classroom teachers to non-formal educators in zoos, museums, nature centers, nonprofits, government agencies, you name it, working with early learners all the way up to seniors. So we really focus on 3 big buckets of programming. One is driving excellence, and how do we support quality environmental education in the field? How do we mobilize support and advocacy for environmental education? And how do we foster collaboration in the field? I've been with CAE about 10 years now, and then we have 2 other team members who will also be helping with Project Learning Tree facilitation, including Lisa Edens, our program coordinator, and Nell, who is on with us today, who is the new program and event coordinator. So excited to be a part of the PLT family.
Thank you. Yeah, so we're going to go next into really what's been happening with PLT in the past couple months since Shawn has retired, and what we're going with forward. And first thing we wanted to talk about was our advisory committee. And Katie, would you be willing to say a few words on who makes up our advisory committee, what they've been working on, and we can touch a little bit on where we're going forward?
Sure. We are excited to have a really phenomenal advisory council that was pulled together for the first time in January to come together to really help support the Project Learning Tree efforts in the state, and really be thinking about how do we grow, expand, and make it the best program that it can be. You can see the names and faces of folks who are on the advisory council. Excited to have a great crew from the Colorado State Forest Service, and really a lot of knowledge about forestry with Ryan Lockwood, Adam Moore, and Carolina Manriquez. We also have some on-the-ground educators who can really bring some expertise about what's happening in classrooms around the state, including Debbie Bangs and Heather Berry, as well as Stephanie Hartman from the Colorado Department of Education, who really can bring a deep perspective about what's happening on the state level in Colorado education. Got a couple higher ed folks who can really help support thinking about Project Learning Tree and pre-service teachers, both from Kay Phelps and Charlie Warren at Fort Lewis College and University of Northern Colorado. So excited about that. Longtime facilitator and PLT extraordinaire, Rose Banshaff. Nonprofit representatives like Adrian Sedlak, who runs the ECHO program at National Wildlife Federation, and a couple representatives from CSU Extension, including Robin Young and Lisa Mason. So really great crew of people who have come together just a couple of times this year to start thinking about what this next phase of PLT might look like. And really have spent some time thinking about the council, what its purpose is, and how they operate as a council, and are starting to move into thinking about a couple different projects, one of which is really coming up with a Project Learning Tree strategic plan and thinking about what are our goals in the next 3 to 5 years that we can really tackle and work on collectively with facilitators, council members, and Project Learning Tree trained folks. So that's a big effort that they'd like to take on in the next year. And then another one is really focusing on thinking about the new standards that will be implemented next fall here in Colorado and how to really prepare for those, align materials to those new standards, particularly when the new Project Learning Tree Guide is released next year. So lots of exciting things coming up. Did I miss anything, Danielle, that you would add?
No, yeah, you got the great gist of it. Yeah, so we've been really fortunate to have this advisory council come together, and it's been great just working with them and hearing about all their great ideas, and really have a lot of talented people on the council, and really great momentum coming forward. So as Katie mentioned, we're focusing strongly on strategic planning, and that involves getting feedback from you, which I'll dive into a little deeper upcoming. And then as she mentioned as well, those new standards that are coming out for science and social studies, and seeing how our curriculum best aligns. And Katie mentioned that we do have a new PLT curriculum coming. They're coming out with a new K-8 guide scheduled next fall, which will add a couple new activities and combine some previous activities. So as we get more information on that, we'll be sharing that and delivering trainings so that you're prepared and familiar with what's upcoming in those guides. So yeah, thank you, Katie. So next I wanted to dive into what are we working on and what have I've been up to since I started in the middle of June, and then where I'm going, and then Katie will expand upon some really neat things that CAEE is doing that has great partnership opportunities for PLTs. So my first priority since stepping in this position is really getting to know you, the facilitators, the PLT community, people who are involved with this really amazing program. We started with this webinar. I've been reaching out. Hopefully you've responded. I know I sent some things through the listserv and had some follow-up phone calls on seeing who's interested on being a facilitator still. And if you know of someone who maybe hasn't responded yet or haven't had the opportunity, just give me a ring. I'm still collecting data on who really wants to facilitate still, and making sure that you have everything you need for that. I also am working on, in addition to this webinar, scheduling some face-to-face meetings, because it'd be great to get to meet you in person and see all the great work you've been up to. I'm working on taking a look at getting out to our various regions throughout the state and scheduling meet and greets, so you'll have the opportunity to meet in person and really talk about the program, giving some feedback on what you think is working well, what you think you'd like to see happen with PLT, and really what you've been up to. I'm really interested in learning more about the different programs that you work with, who you're involved with, and I think these face-to-face opportunities will provide a nice venue for that. So keep a lookout on the listserv. We'll still be using that to communicate with the PLT community on those opportunities for those PLT meet and greets upcoming as they're being scheduled throughout the fall and early spring. And as I mentioned, I'm really excited to see your work. So I also am very interested in attending some of your workshops to see how you run them, what they look like, how they work. So if you're planning on hosting a workshop, please make sure that you're communicating that to me so that we can make sure that you have the right supplies, books, and that we're collecting the information for you. When you run a workshop, if you're a facilitator, please make sure to turn in those participant information forms, because we need to send that information down to national, along with your agenda and outline of what you have planned. I'm also working on streamlining some of those processes. If you've had a chance to look at the website, it hasn't been updated in a while, so that is also one of my goals, taking a look at really making it user-friendly to the needs of what we're working on. So stay in tune for more updates on the website. And I'm also working on streamlining processes, so finding easy ways for you to submit workshop requests and really figuring out what's the easiest way for you all to communicate with me and for me to communicate with you. So doing a little bit of research into that, which I mentioned before, we're really valuing feedback and data. So at this point, I want to highlight that we'll be coming out by the end of next week. I'm working with the advisory council on a facilitator survey. So if you're facilitators, please, please, please take a moment to fill that out. It'll be invaluable to receive your thoughts and feedback on the program and how we can continue to hold the things successfully that made it successful, and then make improvements upon whatever changes that may need to happen. And then also, in addition to helping the program, you'll have an opportunity to win some fun prizes for filling out that survey. So keep a lookout for that survey. It's scheduled to come out by the end of next week. And if you're on the advisory council, I'll be sending you information, those questions, very soon for your review. And other quick things that I want to mention that I've been working on, I've been having opportunity to travel around the country. Actually, I was just 2 weeks ago in Virginia at their Project Learning Tree facilitator training. So collecting data on how other states run their programs. And in October, I'll be out in Nebraska. And I also had an opportunity to talk with several coordinators throughout the state, as well as Shawn, who's run this program so successfully for the last 25 years. So right now I'm in this big feedback collection state, and I'm really excited about diving deep into this program and working on structures to help keep it successful. So those are a couple of things that I've been digging into, and really one of the projects that I am working on upcoming in the next couple months. So with that, I'll turn it over to you, Katie, to talk about what you are working on with PLT.
Great. Thanks, Danielle. So as we mentioned, CAE is really taking on just a couple of aspects of the PLT program to work with. So early childhood has been where we've spent a little bit of time getting our feet wet this year. And we're really looking at how do we integrate the early childhood really incredible curriculum project with the Guidelines for Excellence in Early Childhood from NAAE, and using some of those best practices and the powerful curriculum in workshops. So we got our first chance to experiment with that in June. And we're just starting to figure out who's doing workshops and where that is. So I would invite anybody who has a workshop that's coming up, or if you'd like to plan a workshop in the future, to contact us and let us know, and we can start getting that in the works. We also may have a few free books for a potential fall workshop if anybody has one in the hopper. So please email me about that, and we can get you at least a few resources and help support what you're doing from some grant funding that we have. So definitely contact me about that. And we'd really like to know what you're up to and how we can help support you as we kind of get our feet under us. So same invitation, similar to Danielle, please reach out and let us know. In addition to the early childhood workshops, we are also working with the Green Schools material. If you haven't checked out the Green Schools investigations, they're fabulous opportunities to really dig in and see how you can improve the sustainability of your school. Whole investigations that clubs or classrooms could take on and do. The best part about them is that they're free materials. If you have been using these materials in the past, I do want to let you know their National PLT is reevaluating how the grant program works. So we're not expecting any Green Schools grants to be awarded in 2019, but we'll keep you posted as more information comes out for how they're going to move forward and structure those grant programs. So if you're looking for that, just know that hopefully some more information will be coming soon. What we're really hoping to do, many of you I'm sure are familiar that CAEE is working with 4 regional councils around the state. The lines aren't straight, but basically if you divided the state into quadrants, that's kind of the area for these councils. And what they are charged with is helping to implement Colorado's environmental education plan. And that plan was adopted in 2012 by the State Board of Education. So they're the on-the-ground local implementers. And we're really hoping that in their outreach to teachers and in their efforts to help folks implement those goals of the environmental education plan, we can also be distributing these materials, and it's another resource for teachers to use. So those regional councils will be a big driver in terms of how we are able to get those materials out. If you're already working with a school or in a school to be awarded the Green School Award from National PLT, please feel free to reach out to us and we can support you in getting through all the steps and the processes to get that recognition through National PLT. So definitely reach out to us if you are interested in that. Talking a little bit more about the efforts of the regional councils. Some exciting work that they are doing that I would also like to offer out and invite any PLT facilitators to participate in helping meet the goals of the Colorado Environmental Education Plan. So if you're not familiar with the ins and outs of the plan has 3 goals. One is to help students be prepared to address and analyze environmental issues. The second is to increase field experiences that are available to teachers and students, field trips, those types of things. And the third is really around helping teachers access professional development in environmental education. And so what the regional councils are working on is we have a shared 10-minute presentation that can be added to any professional development event that folks are doing. So if you're facilitating a project learning tree workshop, this could easily be inserted in, that talks about joining a network of folks who are interested in meeting those goals. And in order to join the network, all you have to do is fill out what we're calling the Count Me In form. And the Count Me In form basically asks teachers to say how they want to engage. It gives them opportunities to sign up for different resources and to say, I'd really like to take my students on a field trip this year, or I would really like to do some more professional development this year. Once we have that data and they've filled out that form, those teachers become eligible for EE mini grants, and we'll be awarding a few of those every year to help support those efforts to get to professional development, because we know that can be difficult sometimes based on cost, or to help offset the cost of field trips. So if you'd love to offer that to who's ever in your workshops, I would just ask that you contact us at CAEE and we can get you everything you need and get you hooked up to start adding that to your workshops in a super easy way. And we'd love that support. The hope is that as we get more and more teachers to become a part of this network, not only do they have access to resources, but once we have a significant amount of teachers in a district, and significant depends on how big the district is, but we could take that information to the district and say, hey, we have X number of teachers that are really interested in this. At a district level, is there anything that we can do together to help support this? And start exploring ways that we can build some systemic efforts for environmental education in districts by using the interest and that's already there. So that's the hope with that. We'd love to get you involved and really build this network of teachers who we know are already interested in these things, and hopefully give out some great mini grants so they can further those goals. So super excited about that. The regional councils will also be conducting a couple workshops this fall and connecting with teachers that way through an EE60 mini or grant that we received from PLT. So we're excited to be able to do that. So I think that is the update from CAEE. And I will turn it back over to you, Danielle.
Yeah. Great. Well, thank you, Katie. So the last piece that I want to touch on is pointing out again that we need your help for our next steps moving forward. As I mentioned, the Advisory Council is really looking at strategic planning. So where do we go with PLT and how do we really make it a success? So once again, keep your eye out for that survey. It'll be coming out by the end of next week, and make sure that you give your feedback. We really value what you have to say about the program, and really are looking forward to that feedback. Also keep an eye out for the meet and greets that I mentioned earlier that I will be scheduling at the different areas around the state. And thank you for everyone who filled out in the chat box where you're from. I also have a document that I've been keeping track of where our facilitators are located. But when you start to see those meet and greets, and if there's not one in your area and you would like me to come out, please make sure that you reach out to me, because I'd like to get out and meet as many people as possible and really see the great work that you're doing. So keep an eye for those two things, the survey and the meet and greets. And then the last part, we just wanted to open it up to you all. So we're going to take this opportunity. Katie's posted our contact information. Feel free to use that to reach out about any questions that you have, any workshops upcoming. As I mentioned, we are working on revamping the website, so in the future there'll be easier tools for you to submit requests for workshops that you would like to run. But right now, email is the best form of communication. And at this point, we're going to open it up, and please share if you have any questions that we can help answer this afternoon.
And I will say I did make a typo in Danielle's last name here, so the email is correct.
Yes.
In the last name. I apologize about that.
That's all right. Yeah, so the email is correct. Thank you, Katie. So, what questions can we help answer today? Okay, so there's a question, do you plan to do more facilitator trainings? Thank you for that question, Natalie. So yes, we are going to do facilitator trainings in the future. I currently do not have one scheduled for this fall. What I'd like to do, because PLT is coming out with a new K through 8 curriculum next fall, is really to get something scheduled around that. Our advisory committee also had some great ideas about possible mentorship programs for facilitators, so pairing up experienced facilitators with brand new facilitators and maybe offering some online content and training. So that's an idea that we're exploring, is in the works. So we are going to do more facilitators trainings in the future, but we don't have one scheduled for the immediate future. And then, oh great, Donna. So it says maybe the advisory folks can introduce themselves. I know we have a couple advisory committee members or council members on our webinar today. So if you want to just jump on in and say hi to everyone and tell a little bit about yourself, that would be great. I'm trying to see who we have.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, thank you, Rose.
This is Rose Banzaf. I'm in the southeast region of Colorado, and not only sit on the advisory board, but I also sit on our regional environmental education leadership council. So I'm really excited about the new work that's being done in the state and look forward to meeting up with folks and maybe getting some new facilitators in our area.
Thank you. Let's see.
Adam Moore here with the Colorado State Forest Service down in the San Luis Valley. I also oversee the Salida Field Office, so that's covering 8 counties in the state. Alamos is also where Adams State University is, so opportunity to tie in with that, and then just working with and giving the perspective of what some of the field foresters could do with utilizing the program.
Yeah, thanks, Adam.
Can you guys hear me? This is Lisa.
Yes, Lisa, you're a little faint, so.
Okay, I'm closer to my computer. My video does not seem to be working.
Okay.
Okay, my name is Lisa Mason, and I'm the horticulture agent at CSU Extension in Arapahoe County. I worked for the State Forest Service for about 10 years, over 10 years, and worked closely with Shawn. I'm a facilitator and did a lot of PLT education while at the State Forest Service. And at Arapahoe County Extension, I actually worked with Danielle for the last year in the same office. And I look forward to continuing to do PLT as a facilitator and educator and getting Extension, CSU Extension, more involved with PLT. Oh, and I'm on the steering committee too, and I'm very excited about that.
Yeah, and thank you, Lisa. We're really excited about that potential partnership with Extension because I think it's a really great opportunity. Ryan, are you still on the webinar?
Ryan cannot say hi out loud because his microphone isn't working, but he is here with Colorado State Forest Service. I'm going to read this in first person. I lack an environmental education background, but have learned a lot about PLT over the last year, keeping it going after Shawn retired. Danielle and Katie have been doing a fantastic job taking this program by the reins, and I have every confidence they are going to keep our established PLT program moving forward successfully in Colorado. It looks like Adrian is also at Starbucks. So Adrian Sedlak with the National Wildlife Federation is also on from the Advisory Council.
Great. Yes, thank you, Ryan, and thank you, Adrian, for typing in your answers.
Katie, maybe you could pull that first slide back up again that showed the advisory council, so those faces that aren't showing up, people can put an ID on.
Sure.
Yeah. Great.
Hey.
So yeah, it's a great group of people that we have, and thank you for all the advisory council members that were able to join us today. We really value and appreciate that. So what other questions can we help answer this afternoon?
You know, something that I wanted to bring up, this is Rose again, is that I work a lot with the Envirothon program, which is a high school program, and we've traditionally had a difficult time getting high school educators involved with Project Learning Tree, and Envirothon has done an overt reach out by training the high school teachers that go to the North American contest, which I was able to attend part of their training this past July. So I'm bringing back to Colorado some of those pieces that they were able to bring to us at our at that training, that national training, and hopefully we'll be able to at least capture some of those teachers that are involved with Envirothon. So I'm hoping to be able to do an Envirothon related PLT workshop in a central location where the folks that are involved with Envirothon will be able to come. So that might be a final way to maybe inch our way into the high school program.
Yeah, and thank you for doing that, Rose. I'm excited to learn more about how that session went at the Envirothon, the National Envirothon that you attended. And yeah, that's a good point. Really thinking about how can we engage those higher, the older grades that we haven't traditionally engaged in the past. As part of the survey, we'd like to find out who your target audience is or who you work most closely with. So we're really looking forward to that feedback, and also how we can best equip you all to work with different age groups and ranges. One of the things that I was able to get from the training that the facilitator training that I attended in Virginia, the coordinator there provides facilitators training in early childhood, the pre-K through 8, and the high school modules. So that's definitely something we can look at and investigate and see how can we reach those audiences that we maybe aren't reaching. So Rose, thank you for your work with Envirothon, and I'm excited to hear more about what you've learned and look forward to learning more about your upcoming workshops with that group. All right. Is there any other questions that we have? Thank you, everyone, so far.
Danielle, I don't know if you would be able to respond to this one, but Donna typed in the chat, urban and rural community forestry connection.
Yes, this is Donna. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Maybe Danielle, go ahead. Since you directed it toward you, I wanted to just kind of put in a comment that I would love to keep bringing PLT information to the urban and community forestry world, because after the Arbor Days, there are a lot of tree boards and urban and city foresters and arborists that are definitely engaged with the youth and the teachers in the schools. And so it'd be probably the non-traditional type contacts with folks, but it's really a great opportunity. So just keep sharing your PLT stuff, and I can keep directing it toward the urban and rural community forestry folks too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that sounds great. Thank you, Donna, for that connection and for bringing that up. I actually attended a urban forestry meeting with Donna a couple weeks ago, and we were able to make some connections there about PLT trainings. And I think Boulder County Open Spaces is looking, one of their staff members there is looking for a training. So if any of you are hosting one upcoming along the Front Range, please let me know, because she would love to attend and learn more. But that's a great point, Donna. Finding those connections with schools, and we really rely a lot on you, the facilitators, for networking. You have your connections, and you really can help spread the word about this great program and get us into different audiences. So if you have ideas of groups that you would like to meet and are wondering how can I reach out to them, please feel free to reach out to myself and Katie, because we would love to get connected, PLT connected to as many different audiences as we can, because it's such a valuable program. So thank you, Donna. Yeah.
And Mark responded that he's very interested in the waste version, which I believe is a secondary module maybe, and asking about any potential trainings in the future for that.
Yes, thank you, Mark. Yeah, the waste, municipal waste is a secondary module, and that's a great point. I'm thinking we can probably build a part in the survey to ask you what you would like training on, because that's great feedback as well. And we should definitely look at the interest in that, and if there's enough interest, hosting some trainings on really what's available in that curriculum, and helping you all be trained on that. So thank you, Mark, for bringing that up. And I will add a question to our survey to ask, what are you interested in receiving training on? And mark your response as well. Mark, thank you. All right. And then Shauna, thank you very much for your chat. She says, hi everyone, thank you very much for your continued commitment to PLT. She's so proud of you all and your efforts and thrilled with the new directions and leadership. She's still involved with National PLT and continue to help PLT grow. A big thanks to Ryan for getting PLT so far and since my October retirement, and not the least hiring Danielle, a great choice. Thank you, Shauna, and working to bring CAEE further into PLT. And Shauna, I wanted to give you a shout out. Thank you for all the help that you've been giving me since I've been coming on board, and the advice, and it's really been a pleasure working with you, and I'm so excited that you're continuing to be involved with PLT and as one of our facilitators, because you're really great at this, so thank you. All right. And then Rose, you said you have a training in fluorescent on November 2nd. Is that, what type of training is that?
So it's going to be it depends on who signs up. I will not do early childhood. It'll be a K-8 plus high school modules if we get some high school teachers in it. But also I would like to target non-formal educators in getting their hands on the material too. I'm going to use the EE 360 grant through CAEE to put on this. It's a regional EE Leadership Council regional event, but your Front Range folks that would be interested in coming, I'm working with the Nature Place on this one that's up at the Sanborn camps in Florissant, and we're currently working on a possible offering for an overnight, so that if folks need to come from a distance, they'll be able to either, they'll be able to have the opportunity to stay overnight there, if that's something that would make it more workable for them. So is your Front Range person that's looking for something too far away to want to come that far?
I can share it with her for sure, and
yeah,
we can see, yeah.
I don't have the brochures, the flyers ready for it yet. This is just, actually we're pulling it together. I just got the email back from the Nature Place this morning about what the charges would be for staying overnight and that kind of thing. So we're working out the pricing on it.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you for sharing, Rose. And that brings about another thing that we're looking at on the website, adding a spot for upcoming workshops that you all are offering that are open to the public. I understand that you work sometimes with specific groups and target populations that might not be open, but we have an opportunity to post and advertise some of your public workshops as well. And Katie, CAEE is getting a new website?
Mm-hmm. Yes, very soon, hopefully.
Yeah. So there might be opportunities for linking there as well. So yeah, we want to help you really be successful and reach audiences. So working on developing tools to do that. So, yeah. Great. All right. Any other questions? All right. Well, if you think of any last minute, you can type them in the chat box or jump on with your video, or please don't hesitate to reach out to us, email Katie or myself, and we'd be happy to help answer questions that you have. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. It's been a real pleasure getting to meet you online. And as I mentioned before, I'll put another plug in. Keep an eye out for that feedback survey that will be coming out by the end of next week, and also the meet and greets that will be set up, because I am looking forward to getting to meet all of you. So thank you again.
Thanks, everyone. We'll share out the recording to this on the listserv.